Okay, I don't really know exactly what my question is, but I'm just going to start. When you were just talking about that, I guess, choosing a path, figuring that out,
that vibration is called resistance, by the way. And it is a pattern of habit. It is a pattern of habit saying it is not safe to feel good. It is not safe to have what you want. You will pay a price that is too high. Is this not a familiar pattern to you throughout all of history and all of your movies? It is this belief, this existing pattern of energy agreement, this co-created pattern of very strong resonance, is most especially in the physical form, that you may not have what you want. Have you not believed this? Have you not spoken this? Have you not agreed with it? Is it not in your cultural language? Do not want too much. What you want, you're going to expect disappointment. And so it's some aspect of being, humanity in form, has agreed that it is easier to settle. It is much too much work to figure out, to align, to commit, to be consistent in the seeking of feeling good. You have not yet evolved as a species into feeling good. Is that not fascinating to you? We find it very fascinating. And we encourage you and we say, yes, choose it because you can today. Not everybody, not everyone will. Your sister's engagement with beings of a lesser frequency, it was not the time that she was supported. There are many people who will find that mental illness causes great stress and struggle and pain to them and to others because this is a valid exploration. And there are others with mental illness that are perceived to be mentally ill who are great creators, who will change things within their families, within their environments, within their communities, within on this plane of existence. And so again, it all exists. And yet, you are very inexperienced. You are a very young planet, although it does not appear so in your history, and yet you are in the realm of all that is. You are a young planet. These bodies and forms that you're in are not keeping up with your technology and all its advances. Technology is far beyond what used to be the norm. It is creating for the sheer joy of creating. It is flowing, channeling through beings. They are creating things just for the sheer joy of it. And yet, in individualized form, this is an anomaly still today. And this is why we are in agreement to be here and remind you, you can choose for the sheer joy of it. And yet, having the ability to do that is a commitment. Does this help answer the question?
Yeah, I guess so much of my struggle just feels like, well, that unworthiness to...
And so as often as you tell the story of worthiness, have you told the story of unworthiness? Have you argued with yourself? Have you countered? Have you logically explored what is unworthiness? Is it true for you today? It is only true as long as you continue the perspective of it. Here on your plane of existence, you must take the action, the physical action of creating the opposite, to come out of an existing pattern that you came in to explore. An existing pattern. It will exist when you leave this form. An existing pattern, to undo an existing pattern that you have decided to explore at whatever level of being, or that you are stuck in exploring through repetitive vibrational agreement. Physical action is necessary at your plane of existence to break this pattern. And this is the part that we find the most frustrating to all of you who study the metaphysical teachings. We sense your frustration with it. We do not feel this, and yet we witness the frequency that we would call frustration. You, at some level, have interpreted the teachings of spirituality and metaphysics that you can think, pray, meditate, affirm your way out of an existing pattern. And we say that is not the truth in your physical form. You must take action. That which you think are miraculous healings, were you to follow up, they would not hold in physical form. The pattern is too new unless the person radically changes the way they think, act, and expect. And so if you are not aligning physical action up to that which you prefer, you will loop to that which the mind is leading in. And the mind is entranced by patterns. The mind loves patterns. Patterns feel safer to the earth mind. Once you evolve, you will utilize patterns for your benefit, not be entrained to them. And so again, we would invite you, be logical. For as much time, for as much energy, mental, emotional, physical energy, that you have invested in feeling unworthy. Not in any way are we in reprimand or criticism. We are saying this is the exploration and the experience. Have you literally, measurably committed as much time to the feeling of worthiness? Have you spoken your worth? Have you acted your worth? Have you shared your worth with consciousness attached? This is the piece. The action needs the consciousness attached to it of where you would like to go until it anchors into your experience and you create a new pattern. This is the piece you're missing. You're looking at it as a very personal failing, and yet if you were to think, if you were to imagine, if you were to conceive, if you were to relax and believe, it is an energetic pattern, and the way to change the energetic pattern is to take physical action, thought, and emotion in creating a new pattern. This is much like your discussions on your plane of existence of addiction. If you have an addiction, say if you have the smoking, the nicotine addiction, if you have smoked only for a year, it is not so difficult to stop smoking. If you have smoked for 20 years, it is much more difficult because you have re-anchored in the pattern of the craving, not just the craving, the action, the identity. And if you are a smoker at this time in your culture today, not everywhere, but where most of you are existing and experiencing, there is much attached to the smoking. You must leave. You can only do it in certain areas. You must plan ahead. You must buy it. You must pay the increasing prices. You must think about where you are. You must eat the breath mint after. You must do all these things. And all of them, you're cementing in the pattern of the identity of the smoker. And if you have created that and spoken that and felt that and thought that and imagined that and acted that over and over and over, then it will take a conscious thinking, acting, feeling, imagining, and physical expression of not being that to counter the balance. Now, is it equal? Thank goodness no, or you would not evolve at all. It is not equal. You are very powerful today, more powerful than when you began the belief, the co-creation of the unworthiness. And if you were to really question unworthiness, would it make any sense at all? What would you be unworthy of? You get to breathe, you get to exist. How could you be unworthy? You have life. Like everything else. You are worthy as much as you are entranced with worthiness, as much as you focus on worthiness, as much as you speak worthiness, as much as you act in the alignment with the frequency of worthiness, as much as you see worthiness for others so that you feel safe in worthiness. Until you become deeply engaged, deeply mesmerized, deeply involved with the creation of a new pattern, you will stay in the exploration of that which is most comfortable. This is the most dominant pattern of your plane of existence. The pattern is survival. And yet, you have outgrown that at least 2 generations now, for those of you who are listening. Not other people are still in that consciousness exploration of survival. And so we say, again, be very co-creative, be deliberate. Choose, where am I at and what do I want to change next? What is limiting me now that could be the invitation to freedom? What is it I'm perceiving that I'm bumping up against that I now want to clear away? What is it I see that is not comfortable anymore for me to maintain? And what is the opposite that I would like to explore? Or what is a little different that I would like to explore? And how do I get that? And it is always the same formula. What you think about, what you speak about, and what you act in alignment with. It is not what you do, it is the energy you're in when you do it. And you have a pattern of being in the energy of unworthiness. And until you change the pattern through consistent focus, through consistent repetitive action, you will not create the new pattern. And like your earth addictions, they will be dissolved when you're in an alternate frequency that no longer matches the addiction. And we say to you all, you could not go back to the unconsciousness you began in without a lot of focus and attention, and even then it would not fit you. And so it is not exactly this for that. It is not exactly weighted the same, because once you have expanded, it is very difficult to contract again. Once you expand into a new pattern, There are many of you who will explore, not in this room. You have already passed this level of existence, but there are many people that you know and people that you love who will explore the big invitation, the big discomfort, the big challenge, the big illness, the big loss, and they will be invited to create something different, either physically, financially, emotionally, and they might do it for a little while. They might focus on health, they might focus on relationship, they might focus on investing or saving, and yet, if they don't align all of the bodies that we are always teaching, they will not create a new pattern, and they will wobble or they will go back. This is why you have many relapses. This is why you have many repeating painful situations. It is all the same. It is all the same. And so when you find yourself alone with a concept that is not even sensical to you, understand it is not you personally. We invite you. Do not take it personal when it is of the negative. And when it is of the positive, take it very personally. Speak about it, celebrate it, own it, share it, love it, dance with it, talk about it, make friends with it, engage with it. That is the path that you are seeking. And it is a matter of what's the existing pattern, how much energy, how solidified is it, and what is the new pattern you would much prefer.